Welcome to the Hindi story, Raat Ke Humsafar.
Today, we bring you a story that will touch your heart, soothe your soul, and take you away from the world for a while. The story is about the week's shave, a story where a small half-truth shakes an entire village, and where every gossip is sweeter than the truth. This isn't just a story, it's a remembrance of the days when the barber shop was the village radio station where fresh rumors, old stories, and new laughter mingled. As you delve into this story, the layers of sleep will lift from your eyes and the sweet smell of the old soil will fill your heart. If such gently soothing stories help you dispel the fatigue of your day, be sure to subscribe to the channel because every night a new story comes that doesn't just bring sleep, but teaches sleep to smile. Now, tell us, from which city or village are you listening, and what time is it on your watch right now? Every comment, every like makes you feel like you're somewhere here. In the silence of my story, slowly drifting towards sleep. So let's dim the lights. Adjust the pillow and listen to the fan's breeze, for now we're headed to that village where even rumors brought smiles, and sleep always came through the open door. The dawn's twilight hadn't fully lifted, but a faint whiff of coal ash drifted across Gangapur's unpaved roads. The hiss of water splashing on a pan, the flame of a stove, the jingle of ox bells, all sounds combined to create a melody that awakened this village every morning. Beneath the peepal tree, in front of the village square, a small sign resting on a bamboo frame, Gudan, hajam cutting, shaving, head massage, and the latest news for free, still swayed in the breeze, Sikki. Gudan barber lifted the shop's mold and dusted off the dirt inside. He took a mirror from the old iron cupboard, wiped it with a cloth, and hung it on the wall. The edges of the mirror were rusted, but Gudan's face had the same old glow, a thin mustache, a faint smile in his eyes, and a faint line of sandalwood on his forehead. 2 blue towels dangled on a rope in front, waiting for the sun. Chotalal peeked out from the shop's threshold and called out, "Wout, where's the broom? Has the bird opened the basket in the shop?" Chotalal, his disciple, came hurriedly from the corner of the street, a half-eaten samosa in one hand, a broom in the other. "Teacher, let me finish the samosa first. If it gets cold, your stomach will hurt." Gudan smiled and snatched the samosa. Another fork and said, "Cold samosa hurts the stomach, and a dirty shop hurts anihi. First sweep, then breakfast. This is the scripture of shaving." As soon as they crossed the shop's threshold, Bola the postman came ringing his bicycle bell. Shoulder bag, thick glasses on his squinted eyes. "Gudan brother, today's latest news. The bridge over the creek in front of the post office was postponed again. Why? Gudan asked, scratching the chair. Bola shrugged. The paper went up. It didn't come down. Years passed in that up-down motion. Gudan ran her thumb over the edge of her scissors, as if she had control over the edge of news. "Let's go up and down our hair. We'll stay straight," she said. "Sit down. Your mustache is as crooked as politics today, huh?" Across the street, Ramjatan Bania's shop was opening. Thin rays of sunlight melted on the tin roof. Ramjatan looked over and said, "Gudan, it'll cost you an extra 5 pays today, because the gossip that comes out of your shop distracts our customers." Gudan replied with a smile, "We polish the truth, Ramjatan, and we don't charge for polishing." Someone coughed softly from behind. It was Harira Mukhia. He wore a neat dhoti kurta and patience in his clear eyes. "Hey Gudan, I need to trim my beard. I need to go to the tehsil today. Patwari Maniram is coming. I need to get some papers signed." Gudan quickly pulled the red-cushioned chair forward. Sit down, Mukhia. Today, I'll shave you so hard that the Tehsildar will look for you in his mirror. Chotelal held up a mirror and straightened the old lamp's wick. The sun had already risen. Gudan soaked the brush in water, applied a layer of soap, and began circling Mukhia's chin with it. The hissing of the brush, the click of the scissors, and the old thumri tune playing on the shop radio, this morning atmosphere brought a soothing touch to the eyes. Ooh! I saw your fulcrinia in the market last night, Mukhia said through the foam of his brush. I weighed the potatoes 3 times on the scale, she said. I don't trust the grocer. Gudan laughed out loud. Oh, it's not trust, it's a habit. And he just settles the household accounts. Just then a soft voice was heard near the door. Uncle, will you fix the border of my choti? Rupa was there, wearing a bright pink scarf, her eyes sparkling like fireflies. Her mother interrupted from behind. Hurry up, the puja. The puja time is running out. Gudan shook her head. First the village head, then Bola the postman, then Rupa, daughter. Discipline is necessary even in a line. You'll enforce discipline, Gudan. Shambhu the farmer taunted from beyond the threshold, and where will you put the knife of your tongue tomorrow? Yesterday you were saying, something big is going to happen. The whole field is buzzing. Gudan winked with a laugh. Oh, he just cut her off, Ekwav. A sentence fell from the edge of a brush. Sometimes half a sentence seems complete, Shambhu. In the village even the wind has ears. Chotalal widened his eyes and asked, Sir, should I tell you about yesterday? Gudan glared at him. Silent. Whatever you do in the shaving room is buried there. When you come out, it's on your neck. Rupa asked with a smile, so did something. Really happened yesterday. There was more playfulness than curiosity in her voice. Without raising her eyes, Gudan, shaving, said, Kuatu, consider it done. It didn't happen. And what hasn't happened, don't talk about it. The sentence was short, but its mood stung as if the air had been held back by a needle. Just then, Ramjatan returned from the shop with a pot of water. I just got word that Manram Patwari will arrive by noon, and listen, someone's name has been put up. Someone's land needs to be marked. Whose name? The innocent postman leaned forward. Ramjatan teased. What's a name? A name should be a name. He winked and left. Gudan gave the village headman one last stroke, wiped it with a damp cloth, and applied a drop of perfume. Whom? Look, Mukhiaji, you look worthy of being a Jila today. The headman said, taking coins from his pocket. Gudan, your shop is the mirror of the village. It sees only what it wants to see. But be careful, even the fog in the mirror settles quickly. Gudan dismissed the matter with a light laugh. The fog in the mirror clears with our breath, Mukhiaji. As soon as the headman left, it was Rupa's turn. Uncle, make Choti's bangs so distinctive that they stand out from everyone else at the fair. Gudan parted her hair and picked up Choti's thin comb. You don't have to be different to stand out, daughter. It's just a little play on the eyes. Rupa looked at herself in the mirror. Then whispered, Uncle, whose voice was that in the weeds near the pond last night? Gopi said he saw someone running. Gudan stopped the comb in mid-air. Her eyes changed color for a moment, as if an old thread had touched her. The one who runs away doesn't get caught. Rupa and the one who doesn't get caught are the best-selling stories. She added, tightening Choti's knot, but it's not right to mention her name. Rupa's mother interrupted. Look, all the kids are talking about the same thing. Anything that happens in the village becomes a matter overnight. Gudan lightened the conversation with a smile. In our village, even if the moon rises, people say, I heard the sun came out to visit today. Everyone laughed, But a question flickered in Rupa's eyes. Just then a shadow fell on the door. It was Fulkunia, a green cloth bag in her hand, beads of sweat on her forehead. Two gypsies sitting outside Gudan's house said there will be a crowd at your place today. Why should I ask? Gudan shrugged. There's always news and news. He left the sentence incomplete and began tying the last loop of Rupa's braid. It may or may not be. Fulkunia glanced sideways. Maybe. It's the no that has made life miserable in the village. Learn to speak clearly. If I speak clearly, people will think it's less salty. Gudan joked. Everyone. The innocent postman nodded. It's true. People even lie for taste. Shambhu's voice came again from outside the shop. Gudan, just tell me one thing. Did you mention the name of any important person? Gudan, laughing, increased the volume of the radio. Amidst the thummery, she spoke a confused sentence. Whether the name is big or small, when a word breaks out, it first climbs a tree, then descends from house to house, then, bending slightly, as if speaking to itself, something that may or may not be heard. I saw it. Tomorrow night, the matter will reach the top. This sentence seemed to hang in the air. Chotalal involuntarily sucked in a breath. Rupa's ears caught the half-sentence. I saw it. Tomorrow night, the matter will reach the top. The mischievous curiosity that often lingers among the village girls returned to her face. Who did you see, uncle? Rupa asked excitedly. Gudan, putting down her comb in a composed manner, replied, Who else the locks of hair? Everyone laughed, but behind the laughter a dark thread of curiosity had woven itself. Just then Harira Mukil looked back. Gudan will be sitting at the shopal until noon. Let me know as soon as Maniram arrives. And they left. Rupa's mother adjusted her dupatta. Come on, daughter. It's time for puja. As she left, Rupa glanced back at the shop Gudan and that half-sentence. Now the matter would reach the top, as if she had tucked it away in her pocket. Fulkunia took a lemon from her bag, squeezed it into a bowl, and said, By noon, the whole crowd will arrive. What would you like for breakfast? Today, the rumor's folky. Sweet dish, Gudan smiled, and with it salt and red pepper. Fulkunia glared. Don't mention rumor in front of me. Yesterday, the women at the Chobara were saying, Gudan saw someone's secret. That's half your story. Gudan's face grew serious for a moment. She looked at the old razor hanging on the shop wall. The edge was dull, but the shine was still there. What's a secret will remain a secret, and what's not a secret will be a topic of discussion. He seemed to have convinced himself, then chuckled and said, Come on, Chotelal, let's get rid of the chair today. The afternoon sun began to spread. People stood outside the shop, some wanting a shave, some a haircut, some just the news. Everyone was waiting for their own. The radio was now playing the news. Talk of an investigation at the Tehsil office, road repairs, and the post office's new hours. Bola, the postman, made an occasional hoo, as if he were witness to everything. Ramjitan whispered to the crowd, Did you hear? Gudan saw something last night. He said he would go all the way to the top. As he spoke, the whisper slipped into someone else's ears. We'll go all the way to the top. Rupa was listening from a distance. She whispered to her friends, maybe someone's name has been sent up. And in a moment, the half-sentence Gudan had left in the air vanished. Someone said the secret would be revealed before the Patwari arrived. Someone said the Mukhia's name might have come up. Someone said, Oh no, it's about the night at the pond. Gudan held her hand in that way, making the crowd's faces fall. Each face reflected a different story. He felt as if he were untangling a knot in the air. Not a beard. Something inside him stirred. What did I say? But the next moment, the cheerful, carefree within him returned. We do this every day. The matter is the same as a hair. Guru Chotalal said softly. What you said last night. The silent. Gudan glared, then drew a smooth stroke. What we saw is in our eyes. What we see in people's eyes is their own story. Outside, a cloud of dust rose at the corner of the street. The distant whirring sound of a government jeep drifted toward the village. Someone said, "Manram must be coming," and ears throughout the street perked up. Gudan, seated on a chair, shaved the last bit of foam from a customer's beard. He asked the towel and laughed. Next, the sunlight was beginning to slant inside the shop. In that slanted light, half of Gudan's face was light, half shadow, and from that half-light face I saw half a sentence. Now the matter will go to the top. It flew like a kite in the village sky, whose string was in its hand. No one knew for sure. The village morning was now fully awake. But the morning of the story had just begun, and its first ray was the weekly shave. The afternoon sun had now risen directly to the roof of Gudan's barber shop. The people leaves were shimmering, and the mixed smell of lemonade and sweat lingered in the air. The shop was now crowded. Some had come for a shave, some for a haircut, and most were just listening to what Gudan had seen last night. Chotalal, sweeping the floor, tried to eavesdrop on every conversation. Borula, the postman, had turned off the radio, so as not to miss a word. Ramjatan Bania was peeking out of his shop, and every 5 minutes, someone would be seen. He would call out, "Hey, you should go too." See what Gudan is saying. Get out of your shop. But his ears were riveted on the conversation. I heard. You catch beards, not man? But Rupa was saying, "You yourself said you saw it. This thing will go to heaven." Gudan frowned for a moment, then laughed and said, "I only saw the hair, not the mustache." Up meant the sky, meant God sees everything. People burst out laughing. But behind every laugh a thorn of a question stung. Just then, Fulkunia arrived with a cold lemonade in her hand. "Here, drink some. If your tongue stays cool, so will your troubles." Gudan smiled and took the cup. "People fear me as if my scissors would cut my ears." Fulkunia said, "The scissors won't cut, but half of what you're saying will definitely destroy the peace of the village." Shambu, the farmer, sitting in the crowd, clapped. "Fulkunia Bauji is right. Yesterday the laborers in my field said that the land of the headman Hariram was going to be marked. They said the file had reached Patwari Maniram." "Who said that?" Gudan raised her head. "Who said that? Who tells this in the village?" "Everyone says that. I heard it, Gudan saw it." Gudan shook her head. "We just said that the matter would go up. Now, whether it went up to the Tehsil or the sky, everyone took it as their own way. In the scorching afternoon heat, there was a fair amount of shade at Ramjatan's shop. The same old benches, the same glasses of tea, the same discussions. But today, the only name at the center was Gudan. Ramjatan said, "Look, brother, it's a simple matter. Gudan saw someone at the pond last night, and now he says it will go up there, which means something's wrong." The naive postman said, "Oh, maybe he saw a couple, Mosaniya." In the village, nightly secrets are washed away in the pond anyway. Rupa, who was passing by with her friends, stopped at this. She said softly, "I heard it myself." Gudan Kaka said the same thing, but perhaps he was referring to something else. Ramjatan rolled his eyes. Daughter, in the village perhaps words are the best evidence. Everyone laughed, but now the laughter was no longer funny, there was the sweetness of suspicion. By evening, the chariot of rumors reached the village square. Hariram, the headman, sat on a cot lighting a bidi. In front of him lay the bag of Patwari Maniram, who had now arrived in the village. Maniram said, Mukhieji, this is a strange village. News of every file spreads here before it reaches the Tehsil, Usaha. The headman exhaled smoke from his bidi and said, and behind that news is the name of Gudan, the barber. Maniram smiled. He's the same barber who gives a free shave along with the news. Hariram said yes, but this time his words have created a storm in the village. People are saying he's seen someone's secret. So did he really see anything? The headman nodded. Gudan isn't a liar, but she has a habit of leaving things unsaid, and in the village unfinished matters are worse than a jailabai. At night, when the lanterns lit up in the village, Rupa came outside Fulkunya's house with her friends. Auntie, it's Gudan Kaka. He's closing up shop. Fulkunya asked, Why? Rupa said, I'm scared. People are saying someone threatened Gudan Kaka. They've been told not to mention anyone they see, Fulkunya's face turned pale. Who said that? Rupa said Bhanwar Singh, the policeman. He was also saying near the village square that there would be an investigation in the village tomorrow. Fulkunya pulled a lamp from her bag and lit it. Oh God, this man's tongue will get us into trouble one day. Just then, Gudan returned from the shop, a towel on his shoulder, tiredness in his eyes. Who's outside? She asked. Rupa. Fulkunya. She said people are saying, someone threatened you. Gudan laughed and said, people are afraid of us. We're not afraid of anyone. But yes, now this matter is really reaching the higher authorities. Fulkunya said, Why? What happened now? The headman called, saying he needs to explain something to Manram Patwari. He might ask about last night. If he asks, tell him the truth. Gudan said softly, Sometimes the truth is more dangerous than rumor. Fulkunya said, Night was getting darker. The sky above the village was now dark. The sound of crickets, the creaking of the well, and the faint tune of a flute somewhere in the distance. Gudan hung her old razor on the wall and muttered, Sometimes we say things, people make up stories. A noise was heard in the distance towards the village square. Someone was shouting. The headman was calling. Gudan had to leave now. Fulkunya peeked out the door and asked, What's going to happen now? Gudan took a deep breath and said, Kwe, no more weekly shaves. This will be a rumored shave. He slowly walked towards the village square. The whispers of the village followed him, like the wind, lice. The village night was different that day. An unspoken uneasiness filled the air. The red tents under the peepal tree swayed as if the flame was ready to listen. Cots were laid out in the square. An earthen lamp flickered in the middle. Familiar faces from the village were all around. Hariram, the village headman, Maniram the Patwari, Ramjatan the merchant, Bhola the postman, Shambhu the farmer, and Rupa standing in the corner, eager to hear everything but afraid to speak. Everyone's gaze was focused on one man, Gudan the barber. There was fatigue in his eyes, but his face was still smiling. The same old towel on his shoulder, but today, instead of sweat, there was a hint of nervousness. Hariram, the village headman, cleared his throat and said, Gudan, you're an old man from the village. Everyone comes to your shop. People laugh at what you say. They believe it. But now the news has spread too far. Gudan bowed her head. Mukhiaji, what's the matter? The Mukhia pointed his finger. You said I've seen it. Imudit. Now it'll go up to the top. Now you tell me. Who is this up there? Silence filled the crowd. Only the sound of crickets and a dog barking in the distance. Gudan said with a slight smile, God is up there, Mukhiaji. Everything goes to him. Ramjatan Bania jumped in. Not just God, but to the Tehsil. People are saying you saw someone near the pond. Some big man involved in some wrongdoing, quote. The naive postman adjusted his cap. Yes, and I heard that Manram Patwari had a file on record about changing the name of some land. Did you see that secret? Manram Patwari immediately interrupted. Look, my job is with papers, not anyone's land. But if Gudan saw something, she should tell me clearly. Gudan straightened her seat. Then she said, Our eyes see a lot every day. Patwari Babu, it's not necessary to explain everything, the tangles in the hair, the crookedness in the mustache, the fatigue behind the wrinkles, The crowd stirred. Fulkunia, who was leaning against a nearby wall, shouted, Gudan, don't make riddles. Just tell me straight. Who did you see that night? Gudan looked at her. If I tell, tomorrow someone else will say I lied, and if I keep quiet, people will make up their own stories. Rupa gathered courage and stepped forward. Uncle, I was there that day, at the pond. I also heard that sound, but I didn't see anything. Hariram the chief looked at her. What were you doing there, daughter? Rupa was startled. I just went to fetch water. People laughed. The hurry at night. Ramjatan said, Water at night, or to meet someone? Rupa's face turned red. Gudan raised her hand to stop everyone. Shut up, everyone. It's easy to blame a girl, but the truth isn't so cheap. The crowd suddenly fell silent when Bambar Singh, the policeman, entered the lantern light. A cap on his head, a wooden stick in his hand, a glint of suspicion in his eyes. What the hell is this drama? He thundered. Mukhiaji, this rumor has spread throughout the area. People are saying that Gudan the barber saw something that has to do with the Tehsil. If it's true, tell us. If it's false, then this gossip must be stopped. Ooh. Banwar, the chief said. We're here to find out. Banwar Singh stepped in front of Gudan. Tell me, Gudan, what did you see that night? Gudan said softly, We saw the moon's axis fall into the pond, and behind it, two shadows, one of a man and one of a woman. That's all I said. I saw it. It will go to the higher authorities, because I thought they were stealing. Who were they? Banwar asked. I didn't see who they were. But the next day, someone had marked the land near the pond, the same land where the village head's field ends. The village head was shocked. What are you saying? Gudan said. Actually, I saw someone doing something, but it was dark. I couldn't see his face. I just thought it was a man in a white dhoti. A voice started whispering in the crowd. So what, Mukhiaji? No, despite a worrying Manram still wear white, or is it that new contractor? Bambar Singh roared, Shut up. Stop the rumors. Fulkonia stepped forward and grabbed Gudan's hand. Why didn't you keep quiet that day? This half of your words is now dividing the village. Gudan said, We just wanted to tell the truth. Rupa said tearfully, But now everyone is telling their own truth, uncle. Some think you're a liar, some a hero. The chief, throwing the beady butt on the ground, said, We'll all go to the Tehsil tomorrow. Patwari, you bring your papers. Gudan, you'll come too, and tell everyone there what you saw and what you didn't. Ramjatan whispered, Now the matter has escalated. They say the weekly shaving has become the weekly scandal. By the end of the night, the meeting hall was empty. Only Gudan and Fulkunia were left. Fulkunia asked, What will you do now? Gudan said, "Now we have to tell the truth, even if we have to get cut instead of the hair." Fulkunia bowed her head. "The truth has the sharpest edge." Gudan smiled and ran her finger along that kind of edge. "I'm not afraid of the edge." Fulkunia is just afraid. This thing might actually go up. Nah. He took down the red lantern hanging from the wall and started to extinguish it. The same sentence still echoed in the air. I saw it. It will go up. But now it wasn't a rumor. It felt like a threat. The morning sun seemed a little sad today. In the streets of Gangapur village, everyone was repeating the same question. What's going to happen at the tehsil today? Has Gudan been called? I heard the Patwari's file contains the name of someone important. Gudan's shop under the peepal tree was closed for the first time today. The same old sign on the door, free cutting, shaving, and the latest news. But today someone had written on it with charcoal. Now the news weighed heavily. Gudan was putting the mirror and towel into his old bag just like that. Fulkunia stood at the door, deep lines of worry on her forehead. Gudan, don't go to the tehsil today. There are big people there. We'll change the topic. Gudan smiled and said, if anyone could avoid fear, no one would come to a shop like ours. We treat people with sharpness every day. Today I'll just have to use a little tongue. Fulkunia said, but the headman Hariram will be there too. Patwari Maniram and Bhanwar Singh will all be keeping an eye on you. We'll see you all, Gudan said calmly, but no one would understand what I had seen. The tehsil building was old. The red bricks smelled damp and old papers. There was a large table in the room, piled high with files. Mukhia Hariram, Patwari Maniram, Bhanwar Singh, Ramjatan and Bola, the postman, were all present. Rupa was also standing in a corner, clutching a blue scarf tightly in her hand. The Patwari opened the file and said, Mukhiaji, this is the report of the land near the pond. This is the land number, where Gudan said she saw something. Bhanwar Singh said in a stern voice, Gudan, now tell me, clearly in front of everyone, what did you see that night? Gudan stepped forward. The moon was full that night. Near the pond there was a man in a white dhoti, burying something in the ground. I thought he was stealing. But when I approached, he dropped something while running. Walsad. What did he drop? Maniram asked. I picked up a small envelope. But there was nothing in it. Just mud and a stamp mark. The chief angrily asked, so why didn't you give that envelope to the tehsil? Gudan said, because there was no name on it, just a red seal. Seal. Maniram's face turned pale. He said nervously, that looks like the seal on my file. Everyone turned to him. Bhanwar Singh roared, does this mean this theft is connected to the tehsil files? Maniram brought up the truth. No. Maybe someone stole the seal. Gudan said softly, or someone stole the land using the seal. Just then Rupa said in a trembling voice, I was there, too, that night. I saw someone, a white dhoti, black shoes and a flashlight in his hand. Bhanwar Singh asked, who was that? Rupa said, I didn't see his face, but I heard his voice. He was speaking. Bury the paper there. No one should know. The crowd fell silent. Ramjatan asked, what do you mean burying papers? The Patwari said nervously, perhaps someone buried fake documents. Gudan replied coldly, that's what I saw. That someone burying papers. I told you, I saw it. This matter will go to the higher authorities. Because I thought it was theft. Bhanwar Singh picked up the file, flipped through the pages, and pointed his finger at one spot. Mukhiaji, look at this. It says in the file that the pond land is now registered in someone else's name. Just 2 days ago. The Mukhia was shocked. And in whose name? Banwar Singh read, Ramjatan Bania. The whole room seemed to freeze. Ramjatan's hands trembled. I didn't do anything. This is wrong. Gudan said, people in your shop used to say Ramjatan is an expert in weighing news. Perhaps today you even weighed the land. Ramjatan shouted, Gudan is a liar. I'm getting a bad name because of his words. Fulkunia called out from the door, a liar is afraid, and you are, and you. Ramjatan trembled. Chief Hariram told Banwar Singh to take Ramjatan to the police station and verify whether the signature was genuine. The police arrested Ramjatan. Whispers echoed through the crowd. Oh, it was him. Gudan was telling the truth. So this rumor was indeed the truth, Banwar Singh declared in front of everyone. From today on, don't call it Gudan. Sometimes the man who shaves sharpens the truth. Truth. Chief Hariram placed a hand on Gudan's shoulder. Gudan, what you saw saved the village. But remember, telling the truth always comes at heavy price. Gudan smiled slightly and said, we charge every day. Chief Hariram, €5 for shaving and 1 rumor for free. Everyone laughed. Rupa breathed a sigh of relief. Fulkunia said, let's go home now. The weekly shave is over. Gudan looked up at the sky. No, Fulkunia, the weekly shave has just begun the week Kunja. Now people would think rumors aren't always false. Slowly, the tehsil emptied. Somewhere in the distance, the flute played again, as if the village had returned to its rhythm. But now a new story was floating in the air, Gudan the barber and his words that had truly reached the top. 2 days had passed since the tehsil matter had been resolved. But Gangapur was still stuck in that one name, Gudan, the barber. People who once jokingly called him the shave of the week now came to his shop and proudly declared, oh, our shop owner, it's become a household name, even in the tehsil. A new crowd gathered outside the shop. Some came to get their hair done, some just to meet Gudan. And Gudan, with the same cheerful face, the same towel, the same way, only now there was a new sparkle in her eyes, as if the truth had brightened her from within. Must have been 9 in the morning. The first rays of sunlight filtered through the peepal leaves and fell on the glass of Gudan's shop. A song was playing on the radio. Listen, my love, the parrot said, and Chotelal was playing with the foam on his brush. Chotelal stopped all the singing and dancing, and Gudan said, the headman is coming today, along with an officer from the tehsil. Chotelal widened his eyes. Yes, the report of what happened at the tehsil has arrived. Just then Bola, the postman, arrived panting. Gudan, brother, I have brought news that Ramjatan Bania has been arrested and his shop has been sealed and his shield. Gudan took a deep breath. Well, the edge of truth has finally worked, huh? Fulkunia said from behind, now your tongue will also be worth more. Yes, Gudan smiled. Our tongues are sharp anyway. It's just that now people are afraid that something might go up to the top. Everyone laughed. By noon the crowd had gathered again in the village square. Chief Hariram had invited everyone. There were pots placed on cots spread in the middle, and an atmosphere of excitement prevailed everywhere. When Gudan arrived, everyone clapped. Our tehsil leader has arrived. Now make him the sarpanch. The chief stood up and said, Gudan, you have a big role in saving the village's honor. Your one word exposed the theft and lies, says. That's why the panchayat has decided. From now on, you will be called the village information officer. Laughter and applause echoed through the crowd. Fulkunia raised his head proudly. Chotelal whispered, Guru, now, you'll have to cut hair as well as write news. Gudan smiled. The haircut will remain the same. Now, along with the hair, your style of speaking will also change. In the evening, when everyone left, Rupa slowly came to the shop. Her eyes were filled with both shyness and affection. "Uncle," she said softly, "the village was saved because of you. But I also made a mistake. I wasn't alone that night." Gudan looked up in surprise. Brother, go pause with me. He had gone to the pond to fish. He saw someone burying the file. Terrified, we both ran away. Gudan breathed a sigh of relief. "So you saw it too. Come on. Now the secret is out," Rupa said. "But people in the village still say that Gudan knows everything. I'm afraid some new rumor might start." Gudan smiled. "The day the rumors in the village stop, my shop will also be empty." Suddenly, a jeep horn blared from the road. Nah. Policeman Bhanwar Singh stepped out, a new envelope in his hand. "Brother Gudan," he said with a smile, "now you're famous even in the Tehsil. Look, the deputy collector has sent a letter in your name. Gudan opened the envelope. It read, "Gudan the barber is honored for his cooperation and truthfulness in the Tehsil investigation. Administrative office, district headquarters." The crowd applauded again. Fulcunia's eyes were moist. "Look now, the man who speaks my name is in the government, isn't?" The next day, she said new rumors began spreading in the village, and Gudan will now become a Tehsil officer. They say he's been called to the district. Now he won't shave anyone. Gudan burst out laughing when she heard it. "Wow, village, I thought the rumors would end, but it seems even the rumors are increasing my prestige." Chotlal said, "Guru, now make me a press reporter too." Gudan patted him lightly on the head. "First learn to cut hair evenly, then write news evenly." The evening sun was setting. Gudan sat outside the shop. The smell of tea and Fulcunia's laughter lingered in the air. Children played under the peepal tree, and the same old thumri was playing on the radio. Bola, the postman sitting nearby, said, "Gudan, now you've really become famous." Gudan smiled and said, "Not famous, Bola. Nah. It's just that now people understand. Our shop doesn't just shave hair, but also words. Rumors and truth have to be kept sharp." Fulcunia offered her a cup of tea. "So will you change the name of your shop now?" Gudan smiled and looked at the board, on which she had now written a new sentence. Gudan, the barber, shaving the truth, trimming the rumor. For a few weeks everything was quiet in Gangapur. Fulcunia's laughter, Rupa's humming, Mukhya, Haridam sitting in the chopal, and the same sound every morning at Gudan's shop. "Hey Guru, please thin your mustache a bit today." But the truth was that the more heights Gudan had achieved, the more jealousy was now following him like a shadow. Many people who used to laugh at his laughter earlier now started seeing pride in the same laughter. And this spark of jealousy was going to turn into a new storm one day. One morning, when Gudan was getting a shave, a new face was seen outside the shop. Tall, thin, anger in the eyes. Name is Sukhdev Bania, younger brother of Ramjatan. Stepping inside, he said, "Your shop is running big now, Gudan. You sent your brother to jail. Now you have become the hero of the village." "We haven't sent anyone to jail," Gudan said in a calm voice. "Sukhdev, the law caught those who did wrong." Sukhdev narrowed his eyes. "The law or your tongue?" A squeal came out. "Make it clear, Sukhdev. Otherwise this village knows you and will recognize you." Sukhdev laughed and said, "Gudan's identity is now established. Now, see how that identity changes?" He left, but his eyes were ablaze with revenge. The next day, new whispers began in the village. "I heard Gudan tampered with the village headman's file." They say she even threatened Patwari Manram. And, listen, Rupa goes to her shop every day. Something's wrong. Gudan's shop was crowded now, but every face wanted to ask something. Every eye held more suspicion than curiosity. Chotalal said softly, Guru, it seems the rumors have started again. Gudan tried to smile. Rumors are like the wind, Chotalal. We can't stop them. Just turn your face away. But this time, there was a hint of something in his voice. The carefreeness wasn't what it used to be. On the third day, Hariram, the headman, passed by the shop, but this time, he didn't stop, Badin. He just bowed his head and walked away. Gudan looked at her, but didn't call out. Bahula, the postman, came running. Gudan, something's wrong. The headman has raised questions about your name in the Panchayat. They say you were getting your praise written in the Tehsil report. Gudan was shocked. What? Bola nodded. Yes. People are saying you got your name linked to the deputy collector yourself. Fulkunia angrily threw away the towel. That was all that was left. If you speak now, you'll be called a liar. If you remain silent, you'll be considered guilty. Gudan remained silent. For the first time, there was weariness in her eyes, as if even the truth had now abandoned her. In the evening, Rupa arrived at the shop, a look of panic on her face and tears in her eyes. Uncle, I'm scared. People are talking about me too. They say I come to see you every day. Sukhdev Bania is filling people's ears. Gudan said softly, Rupa, people only see what they want to see. They want it. The rest of the truth remains hidden from their sight. Rupa said, but now rumors have spread like wildfire in the village. Uncle, if we don't do something, it will consume us. The next day, the jeep entered the village again. Banwar Singh got off. His face was tense. Gudan, the matter has gone up again. He said, there's an order from the Tehsil to reinvestigate your statement. Gudan told the same story in a tired voice. Banwar said, Sukhdev has filed a written complaint. He says you had the files changed and a reward written in your name. Fulkunia said, this is too much. Even a truthful person will be proven a liar. Banwar said seriously, the value of truth has risen, Babi. Now either you remove the lie or become a lie yourself. Gudan said, Banwar, if you want to shave the truth, I have a way to do that. Just don't be afraid. Bahanwar looked into her eyes. He was the same Gudan who had previously told the truth amid rumors. There's a summons to the Tehsil tomorrow. He said everything will be revealed again. Tonight, the village was silent. Clouds were falling in the sky, and lightning flashed in the distance. Gudan sat outside the shop, holding the same old shaver, the moon's shadow glinting on its edge. Fulkunia came and asked, what will you do now? Gudan replied softly the same thing. I do every time. I'll clean up the mess. The only difference is this time I want to make a name, not a shave. He stood up, closed the door, and looked at the sky. Sometimes even the truth gets shaved, Fulkunia. Let's see who gets shaved this time. Me or the rumor. Thunder rumbled through the air. The first drop of rain fell on the shop's roof, and with it began the second week of Gudan's life. Another shave. There was a strange silence in the morning air this time. The village streets were quiet, as if everyone was waiting for some big outcome. Gudan the barber had already put the towel and the old mirror in his bag. Fulkunia stood behind him, the line of vermilion on his forehead, slightly crooked, fear evident in his eyes. If anything goes wrong, Gudan, she said, in a trembling voice, I'll break the door frame of your shop. Why do you keep getting carried away by everyone's words? Gudan smiled softly. If the dust of lies settles on a mirror, the scoundrel has to clean it. Otherwise, someone else's face appears. He started walking. His head held high, his steps firm, but a faint trace of fear lingered within. The Tehsil courtyard was crowded today. Mukhia Hariram, Patwari Maniram, Banwar Singh, and several villagers were all gathered. Everyone had come to witness this second hearing. The Tehsil officer sitting behind the desk picked up the documents. Gudan the barber. You are accused of giving a false statement in the previous case and having a false report prepared in your favor, he said formally. Do you believe these allegations? Gudan said calmly, Sir, we only have that kind of money, not a pen. What was written by someone else. We were just telling the truth. Whispered the crowd. Now it's hard to escape. Sukhdev Bania has collected all the evidence. Sukhdev Bania emerged from behind, a sly smile on his face, files in hand. Sir, these are the documents that prove Gudan lied in her statement. She said the seal was red, whereas the real file has a blue seal. Everyone looked on in surprise. Sukhdev said, and this girl named Rupa used to visit his shop every day. They both spread rumors together to frame my brother Ramjatan. The room fell silent. Rupa's face went pale. Fulkunia even clenched her teeth. Banwar Singh stepped forward. Sir, this man is lying. I confiscated Ramchatan's file myself and it had a red seal on it. Woo. The officer asked for proof. Banwar pulled a small piece of paper from his pocket. This is a photocopy of the file I submitted to the Tehsil in the previous case. The officer said, Rupa, you tell me. Are you really? Did you go to Gudan's shop every day? Rupa said in a trembling voice. Yes, I did. Because I couldn't forget what I saw at the pond that day. I wanted the truth to come out. Uncle Gudan used to help me. That was the only relationship we had. Sukhdev laughed. Wow, the relationship turned out to be new. Just then, Fulkunia stood up. Hey, shut up. You spew venom just like your brother. We all know that the paperwork was done at your shop. There was such fire in Fulkunia's voice that the whole room shuddered. Gudan gently took her hand. Ooh. Shut up, Fulkunia. Now it's the truth's turn to speak. Gudan stepped forward. Sir, I didn't lie. That night I saw a man in a white dhoti burying something in the ground. That seal, that paper, everything was the same. I only said that the matter would go to the higher authorities. Now, if my truth has been caught in the machinations of others, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. That's the nature of the village. Rumors run so strong here that even the truth has to change its phase. The room was silent. Only the gust of wind was turning the pages of the files. Suddenly, the officer said, Truth and falsehood will be determined by evidence. Banwar Singh, show me the original version of the file. Bumrah opened the bag and placed the original file on the table. Everyone's eyes were fixed on it. Red seal, same mark, same date. The officer said, Sukhdev, this file is real. Your documents are fake. This means your accusation is false. Sukhdev's face fell. No, I didn't do anything. Banwar Singh said sternly, like your brother, you also tried to lie in the village. Now the law will answer for both of you. Sukhdev was arrested on the spot. A wave of relief ran through the crowd. Rupa's tears turned into a smile, and Fulkunia threw a towel in the air. Ooh. Now look who's been shaved. The officer stood up and said, Gudan, barber, you are acquitted, you are acquitted. Your truth has once again cut through the layers of lies. Chief Hariram stepped forward. Gudan, forgive us. We couldn't believe you. Gudan smiled and said, Chief, yes, no problem. Not every shaver is trusted, even at our shop. We have to lather first. Everyone laughed, but their eyes were moist. Banwar Singh said, Your name is now resonating, not just in the village, but in the tehsil as well. Gudan looked at the sky. The sun's rays fell on her face. Jeez. Truth is razor sharp. Banwabaya just takes a little longer. Rupa smiled and said, Now, even the village rumors will respect you. Gudan replied, No, daughter. Rumors never change. We'll learn how to shave them. The crowd clapped. Polkunia handed her a cup of tea and said, Now let's go. Home, Nayak, Sahib. Your new story will be told again in the village. Gudan smiled. Yes, Bobby. Next time people ask what the weekly shave is, tell them we're telling the truth is a shave in itself. In the distance, the people leaves swayed again, and Gudan's laughter echoed in the air. Gentle, sincere, and as sharp as hers. Everything in the village has changed now. It was over. Where once people had jokingly called Gudan the barber, the weekly shaver, they now saluted him as the man of truth. But with respect had come something else, distance. People now came to his shop but spoke in hushed tones, as if afraid the news might reach higher-ups. The board hanging beneath the peepal tree was now covered with dust, and Folkunia often said, The name has grown, but Gudan's peace has become short. One day news came from the tehsil that Gudan would be awarded the District Honest Citizen Award. Sweets were distributed in the village. People walked around clapping. But behind every smile was a shadow of jealousy. In the evening, a program was held at the village square. From the stage, the village head, Hariram, declared, Today we are proud of our village's son, who chose the path of truth and put an end to rumor, meh. The crowd applauded. Rupa whispered in Folkunia's ear, Auntie, look, Uncle has become a hero. Folkunia smiled. A daughter is not a hero. She is a laborer of truth. One who tells the truth has to work hard every day. Behind the stage, Patwari Maniram and Bohola the postman were chatting. Bola said, Maybe now Gudan will get a job in the tehsil. Maniram frowned. It's good. She should leave the village. Enough of her reputation. Sukhdev Bania's cousin stood in the corner, his eyes burning with hatred. He said softly, The higher a name soars, the louder its fall. 3 days later, when the village was asleep, someone wrote in red paint on Gudan's shop, False barber, chief's agent, mentioned mess agent. When Chotala saw it in the morning, his eyes widened, Guru, look who did this. Gudan came out and examined the wall. The red letters were fresh, as if someone had spewed a flood of jealousy. Folkunia said angrily, This has gone too far. Well, you've worked hard to earn a name, and now people are throwing mud at you. Gudan took a deep breath. A name is a strange thing, Folkunia. When it's not there, people ask, and when it is there, if there's something, they'll rush to destroy it. Hariram, the headman, sat in his courtyard. A layer of worry etched on his face. Gudan's name had reached beyond the village, but now whispers against her were growing within the village. He spoke to Patwari Manram. Manram said, Mukhiaji, to tell you the truth, she's now starting to insult us too. People say Gudan made the real decision. The headman was just a figurehead. Hariram bowed his head. That's true, but now that truth has shaken my position. That evening, Rupa came running to the shop. Uncle, what happened? Daughter? Uncle, I saw Sukhdev's cousin and 2 men talking near the village square last night. They were saying they'd burn down Gudan's shop. They say that what shines too brightly must be extinguished. Folkunia's face turned pale. Oh God, now they're after my life. Gudan caressed Rupa's head. Don't be afraid, daughter. The foundation of our shop is truth. Even if it burns down, it won't turn to ashes. It will become a story. Night as the sun set, Banwar Singh arrived with his jeep. Gudan, news has come. Another false complaint has been filed against you. They say you conspired with the village head to sell the village land, Fulkunia screamed. Oh my God, this is too much. These people will kill you. Gudan looked into Bamvar's eyes. Brother, rumors are like air in this village. Everyone breathes them in. The only difference is that some people can't let them go. Banwar said, Be careful. Good done. Now your truth has become a thorn in some people's eyes, and when that thorn gets into their eyes, people tear their entire face apart. The night deepened. Gudan sat outside the shop. In the flickering lantern light under the peepal tree, her face was half light, half shadow. Fulkunia placed a cup of tea. How long will this fight go on, Gudan? Gudan said softly, As long as lies fear the truth. Our barber shop has now become a test of honor. Everyone who comes shows their face, but no one shows their hearts. The wind picked up, the lamp flickered and went out. The peepal leaves rustled as if someone was saying something again. Now the matter will not go deep inside but above. The air in the village was strange that night. Neither complete silence nor noise. Just a slow tingling, as if some fear was lurking on the peepal leaves. The sky was cloudy. The moon was repeatedly peeping out, and an old lantern flickered on the platform of Gudan's barber shop. It seemed as if she too was tired of guarding the truth. Fulkunia had told Gudan many times, Don't spend this night at the shop. Go home. Now you become a famous man. Your enemies will be equally famous. But Gudan had replied with a smile, If you go home in fear, people will say that the truth has been scared, and I can't tolerate that. It was around 12 o'clock at night. There was silence all around. In the distance, I heard dogs barking. Then some whispers. Behind the peepal tree, 3 shadows were seen moving. Sukdev Bania's cousin Harinarayan and his 2 friends Tunwa and Lalchand. Harinarayan said, This is the shop. We'll reduce it to ashes today, so that no one dares to tell the truth tomorrow. Tunwa said with a laugh, And if Fulkunia wakes up, tell her the oil lamp exploded. Harinarayan gritted his teeth. The 3 of them poured kerosene from the back of the shop and lit a spark. Within moments, smoke began to rise. Blue, thick, and poisonous. Inside, Gudan was half asleep. At first, he thought it was a dream. Then smoke stung his eyes and the floor began to heat up. Fulkunia screamed, Fire! But then he remembered. He was home. He ran toward the door, but outside, flames raged. He soaked a towel, placed it on his head, and lifted an iron chair to break the wall. The wooden furniture began to burn. The mirror cracked into 2 pieces, one a face, the other a fear. Gudan kicked the wall with all her might. The mud bricks broke, and he somehow managed to escape. His hair was singed. His clothes were half burnt, but his eyes were still the same, sharp and calm. Fire, fire. Chotala ran to the village hall. Gudan Kaka's shop was burning. The headman, Hariram, Rupa, Bohola, the postman, and half the village rushed with utensils, buckets, and towels, idols. Fulkunia was in the forefront. Oh God, my home, my world. Banwar Singh's tongue rang out. He dismounted and immediately shouted, Don't stop anyone. Search every corner of the village. The fire was so intense that even water seemed embarrassed. Fulkunia, crying, grabbed Gudan's hand. Are you all right? Gudan coughed. I am all right. The shop is gone, but my name will live on longer than the ashes. As morning dawned, Banwar Singh felt the ground behind the burned shop. The soil was strange, as if someone had recently dug. He dug with a stick, and a few minutes later, an iron box emerged. The crowd was stunned. Banwar opened the box. Inside, an old document and the signature of Sukhdev Bania's brother, Ramjatan, along with a fake tehsil seal. Banwar picked up the document and showed it to everyone. This was the crux of the conspiracy. The land theft for which Gudan was framed was all a ploy by these people, and they burned her shop to hide the truth forever. Whispers erupted in the village. Rupa's face was filled with tears, and the village headman Hariram bowed his head. Gudan, you've saved the truth again. But this time the price was too high. Banwar Singh ordered his men to find Hari Narayan, Tunwa, and Lalchand. By evening, all three were caught, their heads bowed, their clothes caked in dust, and Banwar spoke in front of everyone. These three set the shop on fire and tried to hide the real evidence, but they forgot that anyone who tries to burn the truth turns to ashes themselves. Gudan stood silently. People gathered around her. Some patted her back, some wiped away tears, and Fukunya held her hand tightly. In Gangapur village, the morning was bright again, but this time there was a new scent in the air. Pride mingled with the smell of burnt wood and ash, because the same ash that had swallowed Gudan's shop was about to become the foundation of her new beginning. The first rays of the sun fell on the trunk of the peepal tree. Right there, Gudan was bending down, gathering ashes, a faint soot in his hands, a glint in his eyes. Fulkunia came closer and said, "Give it up, Gudan. Ashes won't make a shop." Gudan smiled. Baji, even if a barber's blade gets blunt, he sharpens it with a stone. We're doing the same. We'll make a new one from the ashes. He put the ashes in his bag and began joining the pieces of bamboo he had beside him. Bahula, the postman, came by. "Oh, Guru, you're back to work?" "You're safe from the fire tomorrow," Gudan said, raising her head. "Bala, life is like hair. Once it burns, it doesn't stop growing. You just need a new head." Bola said with a smile, "You've become a poet now. Come, I'll tell you. I'll spread it. Gudan the barber is coming back to life from his ashes." By evening, the village square was abuzz with noise. Children, women, and the elderly gathered. Hariram, the village head, stepped forward. "Gudan, the village has decided to rebuild this shop. But now it won't just be yours, it will belong to the entire village." Fulkunia's eyes welled up. "Mukhiaji, when the village joins forces, walls build themselves." Rupa and her friends were building a wall with mud and water. Shotalal was tying bamboos. Bola was laughing and shouting slogans. A new brick was laid under the peepal tree, the pride of the village, and Gudan, placing her hand on it, said, "This brick is not just for the shop, it's the foundation of the wall of truth." The next day, Banwar Singh arrived in a jeep, holding a large roll of paper. "Brother Gudan," he said with a smile, "another file has arrived in your name. This time it's not for decoration, but for honor." Everyone's eyes were fixed on it. Banwar opened the paper. The district administration had honored Gudan the barber with the title of People's Truth Protector. "It is given to the one who showed extraordinary courage in saving the village from lies and rumors." The crowd erupted in applause. Mukhia Hariram said now, "He is no longer just a barber. He is a mirror that tells the truth of the village." Gudan smiled and said, "A mirror is useful as long as people want to see their own faces in it and not the shortcomings of others." A week later, the shop was complete. Blue walls, wooden windows, and a new board hung above WeeklyShave, where truth is shaved and lies are trimmed. Rupa, Fulkunia, Mukhia, Banwar Singh, and the entire village gathered at the shop's inauguration The first customer was Bola Dakia, who said, "Today I don't want to shave, I want a news report." Gudan laughed and picked up the brush. "The news will be made, Bola, but now it won't be fresh, it won't be true." That evening, when everyone left, Rupa sat outside the shop. "Uncle, now the fragrance of your shop will spread far and wide." Gudan replied, "Daughter, the fragrance lasts until ashes are forgotten. Our shop is made of ashes, that's why it won't be forgotten." Fulkunia brought a cup of tea. "Now you'll reach the tehsil, the district, and maybe even the city." Gudan smiled and said, "No, Babi, I just want this." Every man, when he looks in the mirror, should recognize a hair-like line of his own lies. The soil of Gangapur now smelled of Gudan's name. Every Sunday, someone would come to the village square and say, "Gudan, brother, you've changed the face of the village. People now came to her shop not just for haircuts, but for advice. Some were afraid of rumors, others of telling the truth. Gudan's weekly shaves were no longer a constant. They had become an example. And one day, that very example knocked on his door. A call from the city. Early in the morning, Bulla the postman arrived at the shop panting. In his hand was a white envelope with a golden seal. "Brother Gudan, this is big news." Fulkunia came out with a cup of tea. "Which tehsil is calling you again?" Bola said proudly. "Not the tehsil, Bubby, but the city's district auditorium. The letter is from the Lokjan mansion. Gudan the barber will be honored as a symbol of truth." Fulkunia, surprised, said, "Really?" Bola read the paper. "Impressed by your work, the administration and the public committee have invited you as a special guest. Please come to the city next week. The topic is Truth and the Mirror of Society." Gudan said with a laugh, "Wow, now we will speak to the mirror, not in the mirror." Chotelo jumped up. "Guru, I will come too, won't I? I will see the city for the first time." Fulkunia said, "And will I run the shop without you? Rupa, will you manage for a few days?" Rupa smiled. "Yes, Auntie, I'll manage, but Uncle, be careful, city people aren't as straightforward as village people." Gudan replied, "The edge of truth is always straight, daughter. It bends only in that way, not in a lie." The next morning the jeep was ready. Panwar Singh himself had come. "Come on, Gudan. Now you're not the pride of the village, but of the district. But remember, in the city people measure truth, they don't listen." Gudan said, "I'll say what I always said. It's important to show a mirror before cutting your hair." Porkunya handed her a bag containing the same towel and the old lantern that had survived the ashes. "Keep it with you," he said. "If darkness ever comes, this will become the flame of truth." Gudan bowed and touched her feet. "Sister-in-law, take care of the shop until I return. Don't let the rumor take root again." Fulkunya said, "Now rumors are afraid of you, Gudan o." The city auditorium was ablaze with light. Senior officials, politicians, and journalists sat on the stage. Banners lined the walls. The mirror of truth in society. Special speaker, Gudan, the barber of Gangapur. When Gudan reached the stage, people began to applaud. He bowed his head in namaste and said, "I cut hair, sir." But when he saw the knot of people's lies, he started speaking instead. A light laugh echoed in the hall. Gudan continued, "Rumors in the village are like hair. They grow every day, and if they're not cut off in time, they change the face. All I did was teach people to look into the mirror of their own words." There was thunderous applause. Journalists started taking photos. But there was one face in the crowd that wasn't clapping. That face was Manram Patwari, who had left the village and found a job in the city. But he still harbored a grudge. He said to the officer sitting next to him, "Sir, this man isn't as straightforward as he appears. So many rumors have spread in his name in the village. So many disputes have erupted," the officer said, "but his statements have been proven true in the courts." Nanram asked, "Truth or trickery?" "Even rumors, if told in time, become truth." The officer glared at him. "Can you provide proof?" Manram smiled. "I will, sir. Just give me a little time." Gudan hadn't anticipated this conversation, but as soon as he stepped off the stage, he realized it. This honor marks the beginning of a new test. That night, Gudan was lighting a lantern in his hotel room. Chotalal had fallen asleep, but he couldn't sleep. He said to himself, "When the truth grows, a lie is reborn. Perhaps that's the rule. A new shave every week." Just then there was a knock on the door. He opened it. Banwar Singh was standing there. "Gudan, be careful. Maniram is plotting something new again. He has extensive influence in the city." Gudan said, "Panwar, I'm not afraid anymore. Now, if the lie is exposed, he'll have to undergo surgery, not a shave." Banwar laughed. "That's the magic of your words." The city's morning was bright. But for Gudan the barber, something dark lurked behind that glow. His picture appeared in the newspapers. Gangapur's truth-telling barber, the mirror of the people. But the very next day, another newspaper carried a big headline. Gudan the barber accused of fraud, a hero of truth or a new hypocrite. People were shocked. And this time, the rumor wasn't spread in the village, but in the city media. Gudan was in his hotel room when Chotalal came running in with a newspaper. "Guru, look what the newspaper is writing." Gudan opened the paper. It had his picture, but underneath it was a note. Sources say Gudan, the barber, misused the funds provided by the administration. He received the award by presenting false evidence in the village. He sighed. "So this is the barber in the city," he said. Just then Banwar Singh appeared at the door. "Gudan, I already knew this was Patwat, Maniram's trick. He paid some journalist to publish this news." Gudan smiled and said, "Banwar Bhai, a lie lasts only as long as it takes for a newspaper to dry." A press conference was called that evening. The room was packed with cameras, microphones, reporters, and Gudan, sitting quietly in the middle. A reporter asked sharply, You said you were a symbol of truth, so how did 5,000 euros money from an administration scheme come into your bank account?" Gudan replied without hesitation, "Sir, those 5,000 rupees came to repair the school for the children in my village, and every penny is deposited in the panchayat account. But lies can't stand the smell of truth, Masmalu. That's why they're still festering." The room fell silent as the reporter asked his next question. "People are also suspicious of the burning of your shop. Isn't that a story of your own making?" Gudan's eyes lit up. "If anyone doesn't believe me, just look at the marks on my hands. I don't write stories about burning. I'm a living person." Maniram Patwari, sitting in a corner behind, was laughing softly. He told a journalist, quote, "Publish another report next week and tell him Gudan built her new shop with the village's money. The journalist said, "But proof?" Maniram laughed. "I don't want proof. I want news. If lies were to be used against someone who runs a shop of truth, the impact would be profound." He didn't realize that a man was recording his conversation at that very moment, Bola, the postman who had made Gudan's uncle a guardian of truth all the way to the city. When the false news reached the village, Furkunya's heart sank. Now it all started again. She said, "Mukhia Hariram has taken care of her. Sister-in-law, don't worry. The city winds may be strong, but the lamp of truth is not afraid of storms." Rupa said, "Auntie, if he's lying, then this time we villagers will bear witness to the truth." Fulkunia placed her hand on her head. Daughter, your uncle really isn't alone. 3 days later, another press conference was called in the city's large auditorium. This time, Bhawar Singh and Bola were present. Gudan reached the stage and said, "No matter how much you bend the edge of truth, it always comes out straight. Today, I don't want to be told anything who." Banwar Singh stepped forward and played a mobile recording. It was Manoram's voice. "We don't want proof. We want news. If lies prevail over truth, the impact will be huge." The entire auditorium went blank. The reporters' cameras focused on Maniram. Banwar Singh waved a paper. "These are the Panchayat's account documents. Every penny's account is clear." Gudan said softly, "Now tell me, whose shave you want?" Applause resounded. The journalist stood up and said, "Gudan Barber, you've proved it again. Truth may be old, but its edge never dulls. Naduila." After the bright lights, noise, and flashes of cameras in the city, when Gudan Barber stepped onto the soil of Gangapur, he felt as if his soul had returned home. In the dust kicked up by the wheels of his tongue, he saw glimpses of every face in the village. Fulkunia's worry, Rupa's smile, the simplicity of the headman Hariram, and Chotalal's carefree enthusiasm. Gudan was no longer just a barber. He had become the village's story. But he had no idea that this village would write the final chapter of his story. The biggest shave of the week. A crowd had gathered at the turn of the village. Drums were playing. Children were throwing flowers. "Long live Gudan Bai! The soldier of truth has arrived." Fulkunia came running and applied sandalwood paste to his forehead. "Now even God will light a lamp in your name, Gudan." Hariram, the headman, placed a garland of flowers around her neck. "You've made us proud in the city, my child," he said. "Now people know Gangapur as the village of truth, not lies, not lies." Gudan smiled. "Mukhiaji, it's easy to change a name, but it takes time to change a habit. The lies are still there. I've just washed my face." The crowd laughed, but every word held a depth of truth. The shop reopened the next day. A new red lantern burned beneath a peepal tree, and a freshly written sentence was written on the wall. "Here truth is shaved and lies are shaved." "Fulkunia and Company," Chotala said. "Guru, now your shop's name itself has become history." Gudan replied, "Making history isn't easy, my child. You have to sharpen it every time." Rupa and her friends also came. Rupa said, "Uncle, now, people will bring cameras to the village too. You become a star." Gudan laughed. "Oh, daughter, what will I do? By becoming a star? I just want people to look in the mirror morning and evening and recognize their lies." As evening fell, the innocent postman came running. There was panic on his face. "Brother Gudan, this is bad news." Everyone's faces tensed. "Some politicians in the city are saying that you've become too big and that now the name of truth is being used in politics." Chief Hariram took a deep breath. It meant the city had played its trick again. Gudan said calmly, "When truth becomes power, lies make it a flag." This was bound to happen. Fulkunia asked, "What will you do now?" "Nothing, Babi," Gudan replied. "Now I have to shave my life, not just for a week, because truth is not just told, but lived up to the truth. Until death, Ruth, until death." That evening the village was strangely quiet. The sun was setting in the sky. The wind had stilled under the peepal tree. Gudan sat outside the shop, holding the same old lantern still burning, just as brightly. Rupa said, "Uncle, you seem very calm today." "Yes, daughter," Gudan smiled, "because today I have seen everything. The birth of rumor, the victory of lies, the ashes of truth, and now the rebirth of truth." Fulkonia brought tea. Now live in peace, Gudan. Gudan took the cup. Yes, Bauji, I will live in peace now, but this peace will remain with me. The night grew darker. The lantern's flame flickered. Gudan, sitting outside the shop, slowly drifted off to sleep. A smile was on her lips, and the candle in her hand still glowed. When Chotalal arrived in the morning, he saw Gudan sitting peacefully on the chair, but her breathing had stopped. The lantern's flame was now steady, as if she knew her work was complete. Falcunia shouted, Gudan, get up. Up! You said that truth is immortal. Chief Haruram's eyes filled with tears. Rupa stood silently, and the entire village gathered under the peepal tree. In a trembling voice, the chief said, Gudan is not gone, she has become immortal. Her truth will now echo in every shaving session. Gangapur's mornings were no longer the same. Under the peepal tree, where Gudan Barber's barber shop once stood, there was now a small marble platform with the inscription, Here sat Gudan Barber, who shaved lies and worshipped truth. Right next to it burned the same old lantern that Fulcunia lit herself every evening. Now the lantern wasn't just a light. It had become Gudan's voice, rustling in the breeze and reminding people that speaking the truth is true courage. Years had passed. Chotalal had grown up and he still ran the shop. The shop's name remained the same. WeeklyShave Gudan Barber Memorial Barber Shop. Gudan's picture hung on the wall, a faint smile on his forehead and the same old sparkle in his eyes. Every morning, Chotalal bowed to the picture before picking up his towel. Guru, the edge you taught me still works, he said to himself. He's just grown up. A little. Like that now. Now he cuts not only hair, but lies as well. Fulcunia had grown old, but her demeanor was still as firm. Every evening she would light a lamp under the peepal tree and tell stories to the children gathered around. Gudan the barber didn't just shave like he did. He cleaned the mirror of the heart. The children would clap and ask, Auntie, did that reach the sky? Fulcunia would smile. Yes? But up didn't mean the sky, but the truth. Rupa now taught at the village school. She started a new program for the children called Truth Week. Every Friday, the children would listen to the village elders and, under the lantern, repeat Gudan Kaka's advice, don't tell half a story. Because half a story always turns out to be a lie. One day, the village head Hariram proposed to the Panchayat that every year a fair would be held in the village during this week. A week-long shaving fair where people would tell their true stories and speak truth, not rumors. Everyone in the village rejoiced. Flags were placed under the peepal tree, colorful lights were decorated, and a lantern was hung high in the middle. Banwar Singh also came that year. He had now retired, but his face remained stern. He bowed before the lamp and said, Gudan, your fight taught us. Even the law is blind without the truth. Chotalal stood on the stage on the first day of the fair. The villagers now called him Chota Gudan. He said, My guru taught me that you have to be like that, not just on your face, but on your tongue too, so that every layer of lie can be exposed. Today, I'm doing the same thing. I cut people's hair and their fears. The crowd laughed, but there were tears in many eyes. Rupa told her students, Look, children, this is the real education. Tell the truth. It may be late, but never compromise with lies like Gudan Kaka. It was the last night of the fair. Before lighting the lantern, Fulcunia poured a little oil under the peepal tree and said, Gudan, now your story has surpassed mine, Nan. Now this village is yours. I was just its guardian. She lit the lamp and sat, staring at the lantern. Her eyes closed, a smile on her face, as if someone had whispered something in her ear. Bauji, the news had reached the top. When the villagers returned in the morning, Fulkunya was found sitting there peacefully, the lamp still burning. Years passed, but the weekly shaving had become not just a shop, but a belief. Villagers now came to see the lamp under the peepal tree before any rumors. If the law had remained constant, they would have said that truth lives. Rupa had a picture of Gudan painted on the school wall and wrote below it, "Telling the truth is never cheap, but it is immortal." Banwar Singh placed flowers on it. Chief Hariram said, "Now Gudan belongs not just to us, but to every man who shaves the truth with his tongue." Years had passed. Gangapur was no longer the same village as before. Roads were built. Electricity poles were erected. Children began studying in English at school. But the peepal tree and the lantern burning beneath it remained the same. A little older, but still as bright. People now called it Gudandiya. Every evening, as the sun set, someone's hand reached for the lamp, to pour oil, or simply to feel its warmth with an outstretched palm. Because everyone knew that the lamp didn't just provide light. It reminded us that the flame of truth never goes out. One day, on a mild summer afternoon, a white jeep pulled up in the village. A man stepped out, camera on his shoulder, notebook in his hand. His name was Amarendra Sharma. A renowned journalist and writer in the city, he approached Hariram, the village headman. "Hello, village headman," he said. "I'm writing a book on the truthful people of India. I've heard somewhere that there was a barber in this village whose lantern still burns. Hariram smiled. "Son, that's not a lantern. It's our faith. Come, let me show you the place of truth." They both reached under the peepal tree. The lantern was still burning. The wind was blowing, but the flame remained steady as if determined. Chotilal, now middle-aged, cutting a customer's hair, said, "Please sit, sir. This is where our guru Gudan the barber used to sit." Amarendra opened his notebook. "I heard he changed the face of the village by fighting rumors." Chotilal smiled and said, "Yes, he fought. Not rumors, but people's fear. They say, a man who tells the truth is never alone. Time stands behind him." Amarendra looked at the lantern in surprise. "And this flame?" Chotilal said. "When Guruji passed away, this same flame was still burning. They say he died with it. But the fire didn't go out." Children's voices drifted from the nearby school. Rupa Didi, dressed in a white sari, was now telling stories to the quiet children. "Children, when Gudan Kaka was alive, the village was a storm of lies. People would make up stories based on half-truths. But he taught us to think before speaking, whether it would clean someone's face or ruin them." Amarendra asked Rupa, "Did you know him, Sayam?" Rupa smiled and said, "Not me, but my life knows he. He taught me that truth doesn't scare, it just demands patience." Amarendra asked, "Where is Fulkunya ji now?" Chotilal said softly, "A few years after her guru's departure, she too passed away. But as she left, she said, 'Whenever anyone speaks the truth near this lamp, I will hear it.'" Hariram, the headman, added the words, "And now, every year, the first lamp at the weekly barber's fair is lit in his name. A faint smile crossed Amarendra's lips. This village is not just a story, but an idea that is turning generations toward truth. Dusk began to fall. Amarendra sat under the lantern and began writing on paper. His pen was unstoppable. He wrote, There was a village called Gangapur, where a barber shaved lies and truth. Her name was Gudan, which is no longer a name, but a light. Her lantern burns, and when the wind blows, it feels as if she's speaking. Now the message will not reach the surface, but reach the heart. When he finished, the sky was teeming with stars. The people leaves swayed, and the lantern's flame remained steady. Chotalal showed him the lamp and said, Babuji, understand the secret of this flame that never goes out. Amarinder smiled and said, because it burns not oil, but memories of truth. Looking at the book, he said, no, I'll write a book on this. Nenes. WeeklyShave said, a barber who sharpened his conscience. A few months later, the book was published. The cover featured a picture, a peepal tree, a burning lantern below, and a sentence hanging on the wall. Here truth is shaved and lies are shaved. The book became famous nationwide. People said, one barber did what politicians couldn't. He cleansed the mirror of people's heart. The children of Gangapur now repeat it every morning. Speak your mind, keep your face clean, and keep shaving the truth. Night fell again. The lantern burned, the wind blew, and the flame of the lamp looking skyward said, I will not go out. For now I am not a story, but a legacy. WeeklyShave was no longer just a village saga, but an autobiography of truth.